Today we're going to be talking about the third installment of a horror franchise. It's called Maxxxine and it's the third in the X trilogy made by Ty West. So far it's a trilogy. I heard that they're supposedly making a fourth movie depending on the reception of the third one, which is Maxxxine. I'd say the X franchise is one of the better franchises of the 2020 so far, as for the horror genre I mean. Hi, welcome back to the Cozy Coffee Corner here at Flickspresso, where we will be unraveling cinema one sip at a time.
So, Maxxxine. Your agent tells us you're quite a popular name in adult film and entertainment, is that correct?
The first movie is called X. It stars Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, and some other names. It's about a bunch of young people and they go to this rural Texas farm and then they're going to shoot an adult movie. But they're doing it on an elderly couple's farm. So when these elderly people find out about it, this group of young people has to fight for their actual lives. And that's because the old lady, she kind of has this longing for the past. When she was younger, she wanted to be famous, and now she recognizes herself in Mia Goth's character, Maxxxine, because she used to look just like her when she was younger. And when the main characters start recording their adult movie, the old lady secretly watches them and imagines herself in her place. So then she tries to do her thing with her own husband and, except he declines because of, so sad heart problems, which is pretty sad. And then she goes on this murderous rage and you just gotta watch the rest for yourself because I don't want to spoil too much here. It's a really great movie. I'd say you should totally watch it. There's some really creative kills in it, but it's not a major spoiler that Maxxxine, aka Mia Goth's character, that she survives the whole ordeal. Because otherwise there wouldn't be any sequels. Pearl is the next movie in the franchise. It's actually a prequel instead of a sequel. It's about the older lady, but when she was young. So X was set in 1979, but Pearl is set in 1918 during the end of the First World War, during the whole the previous pandemic. Pearl is a very unhappy girl. She lives with her parents on the farm and she has this dream of becoming famous. She wants to use fame as kind of an escape from her current traumatic situation. And she goes so far to reach that goal that she's actually willing to take lives, which is also quite sad. And Pearl 2 is a fantastic movie. It's a fantastic follow-up to the first one. It explains so much about X that we didn't really know before. There's so much more backstory for Pearl's character. It's actually funny how I stumbled upon this franchise because at first I saw this, I think it was an Instagram reel about Pearl, Mia Goth in her beautiful red dress that she's wearing in Pearl. And she was screaming like, I'm a star, I'm a star. And that made me Google the whole thing. Then I watched the movie sometime later. And then when the movie was done, I thought it was a fantastic movie and I started looking up information about it on Wikipedia and IMDb and such. And then I found out that it's actually connected to X. And then I saw X right after it. I didn't even know about X's existence before Pearl. So I accidentally watched the whole thing in chronological order, starting with Pearl and then following it up with X. And let me tell you, it explains so much about Pearl's character. It makes her character more understandable. You can get more empathy with her. So then it was announced that X would get a direct sequel called Maxxxine with 3 X's, also starring Mia Goth. But there's one problem. I haven't seen that third movie yet. So that's what we are going to do today. Let's go to the cinema. Okay, so this is some rare footage of us outside of the Cozy Coffee Corner for once. We're on our way to see the movie. It's gonna be fun. Well, that was interesting. Yeah, it really was interesting. So as I said, Maxxxine was going to be a direct sequel to X, and indeed it was. It was set in 1985, so 6 years after the first movie. So Maxxxine finally gets her big break in Hollywood on the big screen. You know, first she's known as being an adult movie star, but she then gets a role as an actual actress in a real movie. It's called, what was it called again? Oh, The Puritan 2?
Name 5 celebrities who got their start in horror movies.
Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta, Demi Moore, Brooke Shields, and
Maxxxine f***ing minx.
And the whole setting of the movie was, well, of course, Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is like the big movie city in the world. And I like how they used the Night Stalker, the presence of the Night Stalker, as a kind of leading factor for the citizens of LA to have a reason to be afraid at night, to have a reason to be at home before dark, you know, to have like this looming sense of danger over the city.
I don't like walking out here with that freaking Night Stalker guy on the loose.
The Night Stalker.
Night Stalker?
Night Stalker.
He's terrorizing Los Angeles.
But here's the twist. The Night Stalker is not actually the main baddie in the movie. This is not some alternate history type of movie like the way Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was, where they twisted the Manson murders on Sharon Tate and her gang. Because at the beginning of the movie, I thought it was going to be something like, oh, they're going to use the Night Stalker and give the Night Stalker some sort of presence in this movie, where a fictionalized version of him would be the murderer, just like in American Horror Story 1984. But they didn't do that. You can feel the fear of the citizens because of his presence. But there's actually a second serial killer, and the second serial killer is the one that's after Maxxxine and her friends and all that.
I can handle myself.
So said every dead girl in Hollywood.
But the second serial killer, he also works with the whole satanic panic thing, so that the murders that he commits can potentially be pinned on the Night Stalker, leaving no traces to him whatsoever. Oh, what is this? Yeah. Oh, what is this? There was something in my coffee. Okay, well, anyway, this second serial killer works together with a private detective, played by Kevin Bacon.
I'm the private detective. I had to find you. My employer is a very powerful man.
Kevin Bacon plays this stereotypical, like, oh, I'm a private detective and I'm following you everywhere and I'm talking with this, I can't even, no, he just does it fantastically. Shout out to Kevin Bacon. Anyway, Maxxxine now has her big break. She's gotten the lead role in a horror movie. So then she gets this tour on the Universal Studios backlot, which is a really fun throwback. I went to the Universal Studios backlot once in 2017, so I recognized some of the places. There's this whole chasing scene between Maxxxine and the private detective. They made a really good use of the old Psycho house from the movie Psycho from 1960 by Alfred Hitchcock. That movie is one of my favorite movies from the 1960s, so to see the old house be reused in the way that Maxxxine did was really fun and refreshing to see. I did not see that coming.
And you'll see the Psycho house in the background.
The past ain't finished with you. It's gonna keep knocking at your door.
No, I feel like the whole X franchise is more of a take of the dark side of the American dream. Know what I mean? Maxxxine has this saying of, I will not accept a life that I do not deserve. All of the movies are about getting famous, about getting the life you deserve, about success, about not settling for less than the best. Maxxxine will go out of her way to do whatever she can to get to her goal, which makes her, in my opinion, a very respectable character. What I also liked about this movie was the editing. The way the storytelling intertwined with the editing. Like, there was this scene where Earl is friends with a video store employee, and this video store employee, spoiler alert, to those of you who do not want to hear this, you can skip right ahead. The video store employee gets murdered while Maxxxine is reading and learning her lines for her upcoming movie. And the editing is done in a way where he's getting stabbed and she is turning the pages and crossing the lines with a marker. I don't know, I thought it was a really fun style of editing. I thought it was a really creative way of, you know, her getting the marker down on the paper and simultaneously a knife getting through his skin. And it sounds weird saying that out loud, but I thought it was really fitting for the editing and for the tone that this movie had, the tone that the entire franchise has. Also, Lily Collins makes a cameo, Phil's daughter. She's only a supporting character, she only has a couple of scenes, but within these few scenes she was pretty convincing. Mia Goth is a fantastic actress. Like, she already proved herself in X and in Pearl, but the opening scene of this movie really establishes her as just a fantastic, an amazing, fantastic actress. Kudos to you, Mia, because that scene is the audition to which you will win the role in the movie.
I'm curious, did you always want to be in that line of work?
I always wanted to be famous.
If you need to read off the sides we gave you, just go ahead, all right?
I know the lines.
She turns to the camera and, through her trauma, addresses the lens directly.
Just in general, I think the movie was pretty fantastic. It was maybe a bit less strong than the previous two, but still it was just a great sequel to X, and it didn't reveal more about Maxxine. I feel like if you watch this movie without having seen the previous two, that you won't get to know a lot about Maxxine's character. Pretty much most of the information given about this character is shown in the first two movies. So if you're going into the movie not having seen the first two, you're not gonna know a lot about Maxxine. But maybe in a weird way it also adds to the fun, because even though you wouldn't know a lot about this character, you still get captured by her performance. You still get captured by her willingness to do anything, whatever it takes to get what she wants, which is fame, essentially. I'm not going to spoil to you if she eventually gets it at the end. As I said in the beginning, we may be getting a fourth movie in the franchise. The director, Ty West, has said that he was already writing something, or, well, there's something in the works, but it mainly depends on the reception of the third movie, which is out in theaters right now, so go see it, please. In general, I would say that the X trilogy is definitely one of the better horror franchises of the 2020s. So far. They're also placing huge advertisement for New Coke, which is something that Stranger Things Season 3 did back in 2019. And now Maxxine has done it as well. You know, she's giving, like, the police officer is giving someone a can of Coke with the logo fully towards the audience. So to say that there was a little bit of product placement would be an understatement. Also, yeah, we didn't even talk about the police officer characters yet. How can I forget? So there were two police officers, and one of them was played by Michelle Monaghan, known for other movies to which I do not know the titles right now, but she's in some other stuff. Very accurate description. And these two characters do not have a lot of scenes either, because they too are supporting characters, but they do drive the story forward in a way like you couldn't tell this same story without them. I would say that the franchise's thematic exploration of things such as ambition and fame and the dark side of the American dream, really, are very thought-provoking and also very relevant, because we're living in a time where it's easier than ever to get famous, even if it's just for 15 seconds. But we all have, like, these in our pockets, and they allow us to post anything on the internet for everyone to see at all times, which makes it easier than ever before to get a shot at getting famous. That's why I think these themes are very thought-provoking and relevant, really. And I think the thing that drives the franchise in general is Mia Goth's performance, because she's really, really nailing it. And second is a very strong directorial vision by Ty West. I feel like the director really knows what he wants, you know? Stanley Kubrick once said, "I don't know what I want, but I do know what I don't want." But I feel like Ty West is more like, I know exactly what I want. And it's this, and we're gonna do this. That's only an assumption, I don't know if I'm right about this, but the way these movies are made and how all three of these movies in the franchise are all just solid, great movies, which are also good standalones. Like, you don't need the other movies to enjoy a good story. I think that's a fantastic thing. That's not something that most other franchises can say as well. And that's what makes this franchise so fantastic. Because that's what you need for a good movie, is a director who knows what he wants. And whether or not this 4th installment in the franchise will actually be there one day, I'm looking forward to it. I said it before, but I'll say it again, the X franchise is one of the best horror movie franchises of the 2020s. If you don't know what to watch with your friends on Saturday night, I think you know what my suggestion for you is going to be. Having said what I said, that's the end of this video. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to see Maxxxine in theaters right now, and then I'll be seeing you next time.